Hey, what's up guys? Stan here from Rocky Creek. Welcome back to the homestead. Been gone for a little bit. It's been super busy. Been busy at work, busy at home. We've been busy with the Easter weekend that came here recently, and we've just really been trying to get a lot of stuff done. So today, I figured I would go ahead, if Bruce will ever shut up, but my plan is I'm gonna try to catch Q-tip so we can give you all an update on whether or not that saddle cover, I don't know, the thing we put on her back, whether or not it helped her feathers or not, and if she's healing up. She's had it on now for a couple weeks. She seems completely unfazed by it. She seems to act like it's not even there. So we're gonna grab that, see if it's worked out, give you an update on that, and then we're gonna show you what all progress we have made for the garden this year as we're working towards trying to get our garden going. So let's go in here, let's try to catch Crazy Q, and let's hopefully see good results underneath that thing. There's Q. She's still rocking her good looking saddle cover. We're gonna see if we can't wrangle her. Oh, she don't hear me talking. She's like, I'm out, peace out. No, we try to get her towards the corner of the fence. There you go. Let's see if we can get her trapped down in here. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and unsnap it. Yeah, a little bit. Look, you see some of her new feather growth right there underneath it. So the scabs are healed up. She's got a little bit of new feather growth. So it looks like the saddle cover's kind of done a pretty good job for her. I'm gonna actually try to see if we can let her go for a little bit without it, and maybe see if she'll just heal up the rest of the way on her own since she's got some new feather growth going.
But what if Bruce attacks her again?
I think it'll be all right. All right, Q. I'm pretty sure there's some other new feathers right there too. You good, Q? Yeah, there was a while she didn't have any feathers. It was just like skin right there. So she still has a good ways to go, but actually I'm pretty pleased now that I've put her down that what is light there is actually the base of her feathers, but she's got new feather growth and there's no skin showing that's not covered by some feathers. So I'm gonna try to just let her heal up without it, but if we notice Bruce is starting to wear on her again, then we'll add it again. Hey, can you be nice to Q for a little bit? Well, I know you were sort of being nice to her, but can we just take it a little easy? So there's the update on Q. I feel like the saddle cover did its job. I did notice she's got several new feathers growing. What was starting to, it wasn't really scabbed up, but it definitely started to look a little red and irritated. It looks like it's all completely like white. Looks like she has a little dryness there maybe, but I'm not 100% sure if that could be from the cover. But when I set her down, there's no exposed skin that's not covered by feathers, where she used to have that before. So I think it's doing its job. I think it worked well. We're gonna let her try to do some time without it and see if it'll heal up the rest of the way on its own without the cover on, so she can just be normal. If we're not seeing much of a difference or we see it getting worse, we'll always put the cover back on. But let's go inside the coop and let's give you another update on new stuff with them.
But it's like not the skin. It's
What's the
like,
problem?
right there, see it?
Well, Bruce mates her a lot too, so she's fine. So there's no mites or anything, because you would see a whole bunch of stuff down here at the base of their feathers. So as long as there's not a mite issue, then there's nothing to be concerned about. Madison grabbed Starfire because that's her favorite one, and she was a little concerned that she might have had the same issue as Q-tip, because some of her feathers are just slightly ruffled on the tail end. So we checked that out. It's just going to be where Bruce does his thing with her. A lot of the chicks who did hatch here recently were definitely crossed with Starfire. I think where Starfire's bigger, she just kind of handles it a little bit better than what Q-tip does, because she's so much smaller than Bruce. Oh, I know, you still mad. I know you're still mad and angry all the time. No, calm down. Hey, stop. So guys, I've learned a little trick. If you follow me on Instagram, you saw where this thing attacked me like crazy recently, trying to get eggs out, but watch this. I've learned this little trick now, and I can reach underneath her without her biting me. Is I take my little poultry hook, and I put it alongside her neck, and I don't even put much pressure. I just literally put it to the ground, and alongside her neck there is like a protection, and then, Madison, take the camera. And then all I do is I can actually come down here, and then by just holding it to the ground, see, I can even release the pressure, but just hold it to the ground, I can reach up underneath her, and she doesn't attack me. I don't know why that works, but I mean, I could do anything to her with this thing on the ground. And so then, once I let it up though, of course she gets all wound up, but see if I try to come back here, look, she's ready, but watch. She'll bite it a little bit, but then once it's to the ground, and I'm just slide her head slightly out the way, look, I can do this again. I don't know why it works, but I've just randomly have learned this recently, and it's working every time. But here's one of our updates. So I brought the crate back in here because another batch of chicks that were big enough to come outside have finally been let out, and they were just let out today. And so these guys are hanging out now. And so far today, they've integrated in the flock pretty well. We've actually had a lot of rain earlier today. And so a lot of the big chickens were in here, and they really didn't mess with them too bad. My only real issue at one point was Miss Toot here. And because when the chicks, not knowing what was going on, tried to go towards her, she would kind of fend them off a little bit. And so I was a little worried about her harming them, but she seems to be doing okay now. Now the other like 11, 12, 14, heck, I don't know how many it was, chickens that we had already gotten from the brooder and put in here, which were all the ones that we hatched ourselves, that we incubated, that are all Bruce babies. They're all actually underneath the coop right now. During the day, they kind of can slide through the fencing here, and they're usually all over the yard, but they don't go too far. They're going in the coop on their own at night, but when it's raining, it's not uncommon that they go up underneath the coop, and it literally just stopped raining right before I came out the video. But I'm pleased to say that thus far, we have not lost any of the ones that we incubated. All those chicks are doing perfectly great. All the ones that you see in there right now are not incubated ones. They're ones that we have purchased from our local feed store here when they had some chicks in at that time. So we'll see how these guys grow up. We'll see how many hens and roosters we end up with, and we'll update you on that as we come closer. So enough about updates on the chicken and the saddle cover. Let's go over here and let's talk about what we're getting going to get things going with the garden. Well, I just realized, apparently I left the gate open last night. Good thing nothing's grown up enough that I don't think anything could have hurt it. So while we've been busy, I have been trying to keep things up on our other social media, the Facebook and the Instagram type stuff, because it's easier to do a quick update on those. But I pulled up all of our old landscape fabric that we'd had down for the last 3 years because this was due for a good tilling. And I started noticing some more rocks had worked their way up to the surface, which we got, I think it was around 8 5-gallon buckets full, so 40 gallons of rocks out of here when I tilled the second time. And so we tilled all this back again. I've got new fabric on order, should arrive any day, and we'll get it recovered. I left the fabric all the way through here because this is just going to become our raised bed section when it's all said and done. All of our raised beds, though, have been planted now. And the oak trees are dropping a lot of stuff, so you're going to see a lot of this stuff like this. That's not going to be anything that we've planted. But when you look in between, like here and over here, you'll see little bits of green where some seedlings are just now starting to sprout in some of our different beds. Here's the other bed on the other side, and you can maybe see like right in here, we got some seedlings starting to sprout. Here's a raised bed that we got. This is predominantly going to be onions in this bed, and you can see how the onions are coming up. Now, we started our onions from sets. We did not start them from seed. So these were put in, they were purchased from a local store. And so, but they're taking off. Here in the last 3 days in particular, the greens on the onions have really started to come up. Our 3 beds that we got from Vajega, they're doing really well. We got those things filled up with our compost and our planting soil mix. And this one right here will predominantly be flowers, and we're only getting just a couple little sprouts coming up on these so far. This bed, I ended up planting 3 strawberry plants that we bought the live plants from Baker Creek, and these long ones were the plants that came. So we're getting new growth along the center here on every one of these plants. And so things have been moving along really well with that. And then this last vajayga bed has mostly root crop type stuff in it. I believe in this one we end up doing radishes, carrots, and a few marigolds on the outer edges of it. And you can see radishes, as many of you know, are a quick growing crop. So radishes are starting to pop up, and I noticed just a few little tiny parts are starting to come up on here as well. So yeah, guys, all of our raised beds over here are completely directly sown seeds, and they're all completely filled right now. So hopefully all that stuff's gonna take off really good. The great thing about starting with seeds is that if for some reason it's not, we can just come back and add more seeds and we'll just have a little later crop. Now everything that's gonna go into our main part of the garden is what we have started in our little cheap $50 greenhouse we bought several years ago from Tractor Supplies. So let's go up here, let's show you what we got started up there, kind of the progress going with that, and so you have an idea of what we're planning to put down here when it's time. All right, y'all, so here's our cheap $50 greenhouse that we bought. It's either 3 or 4 years ago, but you can see it's got some wear and tear. Got a hole up there at the top, starting to fray a little bit there at the top front corner, and then at the very bottom there's some ripping, and we're getting a little bit of haziness to the material, but it still gets the job done. Now, most of the people who give reviews on here that give it a bad review, they talk about how the wind caught it and it destroyed it within no time. And I will say it is very light. But what I have done that has worked for us over the years is I've taken old baling twine from bales of hay that we've got, and I run them through the board and over all the way around the main base frame, and that secures it down. Now, if I feel like it's kind of pulling it too much wind, and I risk breaking one of these poles, all I do is slide this patio table up against it, and it's done just fine where it's at. But enough about that. Let's go in here and let's check out what seedlings we got going on, because as you can see, things are progressing pretty good, and that corn is growing really fast. So in my thriftiness, all I did was write what it is on pieces of the bag of the Jiffy starter mix. And so like water, that's just watermelon, which our staple is our strawberry watermelon, and you can see. And then this right here, this is gonna be cucumbers, some more cucumbers. This is gonna be some lemon squash and some scallop squash. So basically you got watermelons, cucumbers here, and then squashes right here. And everything is germinating. You can see like this one just poked through, so I got some confidence that these ones are going to catch up as with this one right here. But for the most part, we're getting great germination rate on these. And then you come down here, this is a whole tray of sunflowers. It's different varieties. They're doing phenomenal. There's only one cell that hasn't poked through yet, and hopefully that one will catch up soon. Now this whole tray down here was sort of an experiment. We are going to be doing tomatoes in here, and as you can see across the center here, we're starting to get some come through. This is not starter mix. I did this just to show you all how easy it can be done. This is nothing more than some garden soil is what was listed out of a $2 bag for like 3 cubic foot bag at the local store. And I literally just threw it in here to show that it's not rocket science. I literally just threw it into the bag, dropped some seeds in it, and been watering it every afternoon. And obviously we're at least getting some results. So if you don't have premium starter mix, or you don't have, you know, certain things, this is just $2 soil from the store with some seeds, and I watered it each afternoon, and we're getting some sprouts. So it can be done no matter how much money you got or the situation that you're in. This tray, these are Charente melons. Madison really wanted me to do those again this year, so they've sprouted. Now it's not unusual for these ones to not be sprouted. These are going to be different types of peppers, and peppers take forever to get started. And every year I say I'm going to start them early, and I don't. And so I'm behind the 8 ball, but normally these will start to sprout at some point. It just takes them forever. Now once they get going, they're solid, but it does take a while for germination. The corn has taken off like crazy. I need my ground cover to get here because I'm going to feel like I'm going to need to be transplanting this in the very near future. Half of this is going to be mountain painted corn, or painted mountain corn, whatever you want to call it. And then the other half of this is going to be a sweet corn. So we're looking forward to planting. This will be the most corn I've ever planted. We had good success last year. Hopefully we'll have good success again this year. And down here, this is an entire tray of tomatoes, and you can see they are starting to sprout really well. Now you can see a noticeable difference in the amount of germination here versus the amount of germination here, which are both tomatoes. Now they're two different varieties, so that could be part of it, but it also could be the soil mix is making it a little bit harder over here because the density of the soil versus over here. Your seed starter mix is a little more fluffy, makes it a little bit easier for that seed to push through, but it can still be done. Well guys, everything grown in this greenhouse is pretty early in its time. This stuff has only been in here for about 2 weeks, and so we're making pretty good progress, and hopefully within the next 2 weeks it'll be ready to go in the ground. I usually do not like to put stuff in the ground here in our area other than what I'm starting directly from seeds until about May. But that's not the only thing we got growing. Let's give you an update on our potato buckets out front. So I have shared these with you all on other social media, but I think this is the first time I've talked about them on YouTube. So when we lived in our normal neighborhood before we moved here, I grew potatoes in this way there as well, and it works really good if you have limited space and you're an urban style gardener, or if you just want to try gardening on a small scale. All we did was took containers, we drilled a whole lot of holes in the bottom, added about 3 inches of soil with some seed potatoes, and then we just been hilling them as needed. And I just hilled for the first time yesterday. So let's show you what we got going on here. So this is a test. So I've done these buckets in the past, but this deeper trash can is a test. This is a food grade plastic. I did verify that before I bought it, and I've actually had to hill these already one time, and these ones are actually doing the best of any in terms of just foliage production. So I'm curious to see how this will work, and the reason why I wanted to try this is I'm hoping that with a greater amount of soil area, we may yield a greater result in our potatoes. So, and then this was a trial too, using a big square container, and it's kind of one of the slower ones, but you can see we are starting to get production. Now the 5-gallon buckets, these two I have hilled already once, and these ones are progressing along as well. And then our final 4 here, all of these have some production. This one here on the corner seems to be doing better than the other 4. This one I did hill the other day, so it's doing really well as well. Now let me see, I may be able to show, for those that don't see our other social media, hopefully you'll be able to see the holes that we've drilled all along through there. And then all we've done is we've set them on, these are old bread trays, so that way it can drain out, or you could use center blocks or some pieces of wood if you needed to. Now you guys know I couldn't shoot a video without you at least getting to see a pig in the video. You know, as y'all know, that's kind of my staple. I love these pigs, they're my favorite thing, but nothing about today's video has to do with the pigs. All I've been doing with the pigs is tracking heat cycles for Olivia and Big Mama. Big Mama's pretty easy to track because it's obvious when she's in heat. Olivia's a little bit tougher. And based off what I'm finding on that, I'm trying to game plan and figure out timing of when the best time is. I want to try to integrate them with the boars and see if we can have a successful breeding this year that maybe will go better than what we had last year. But nonetheless, guys, I think that's going to wrap things up for today. But the main thing I'm most excited about this year is going to be our garden. I've been working really hard these last 2 weeks trying to get this stuff going, and I'm hoping we're going to have a successful year in the garden, and hopefully I'll be able to share that with you all. But just keep in mind, just as I was wanting to show you all with the little test I did in there, it doesn't have to be rocket science. My goal is to grow as much as I can on as good of a budget as I can, and to also prove to people that it doesn't have to be overcomplicated. I think too many people choose not to grow their own food, choose not to garden, choose not to raise their own animals, because too many people try to overcomplicate the process to people, and it becomes intimidating. And I just want you to know it doesn't need to be. And the best thing for you to do is get you some seeds, get you some dirt, get you something to put them in, and start planting now so you'll have a garden come this summer. It doesn't have to be big. Start with a couple staple plants that grow, no problem. Start with some cucumbers, start with some squash, and then start with some lettuce. If you were to start with 3 crops to have success, I would say get you some squash, get you some cucumbers, and get you some lettuce. Most people should be able to grow those 3 crops without any issues, and build yourself a little confidence and get your garden started. And then you as well can give me updates and share what's going on with your garden as well as we work through this together. So guys, I hope today's update was interesting to you. I hope everybody's been doing great, and I look forward to sharing more with you in the very near future. But until then, guys, y'all be good. We'll see you here very soon on one of our next episodes. Thanks, guys.